Hey, I'm Stephanie Feiger, and Empower is my middle name. Well, not really, but I think it should be. I believe that empowered people empower people, and I'm obsessed with empowering you, the nonfiction author, with impactful marketing strategies to help you take your important messages and share them with those who desperately need them, want them, and will buy them. As the owner and chief strategist of the Empower PR Group and the author of 2 books myself, I have merged my love for reading books, for writing books, and for marketing books to help nonfiction authors with laser-focused strategies and tactics to write books that sell, promote books to those who need and want them most, and build meaningful businesses from empowering messages. Think of this as your one-stop shop for marketing insights from an author who has been there, who has done that, and who understands exactly where you are. So, go grab a warm beverage. Listen, y'all, I have a chai tea waiting for me, and a comfy blanket. Because it's fall, y'all. Get your pens ready too, because I'm ready to empower you, the aspiring author, on how to become an empowered writer. This is the Empowered Author Podcast. When I published my first book, I expected to be asked questions about the book's topic, where people could buy the book, and even if I could come speak to their groups about its powerful messages. But in addition to those expected questions came the unexpected ones. Questions such as, hey, Stephanie, I think I want to write a book. How do I do that? I already have a book I've written, but I haven't a clue what the next steps are. Will anyone want to read and buy my book? How in the world do I get published? Could I really build a business from my book? Listen, these are all great questions, and I've decided to devote an entire season of the Empowered Author Podcast to giving my take on each of these questions and more. By the end, be expected to not just be an empowered author, but also an empowered writer. Let's dive in. All I have to say to a crowd of people is that I'm an author, and I see this statistic to be true. Over 80% of Americans feel like they have a book in them that is being called to be written and published and shared. And sometimes, quite frankly, that number is even higher when I talk to groups as well. It seems like people come out of the woodwork so excited to say this to me. And I think that's really exciting, especially since I know firsthand how stories and how books and how writers and authors change lives in very meaningful and very real and very impactful ways. But I also find when people come to me and share that this is something that is of interest to them, many of them have these feelings of terror in their eyes. They're concerned, they're worried, they're unsure of what their next moves are. I hear questions like, Stephanie, where do I begin to write a book? And how do I ensure that it's successful? That's a big one. People ask me, will anyone ever want to read my book? Or, Stephanie, could it really change lives? Like, really? Could it do that? I've written a book, but I don't know what to do next. That's a big question. Or could I really build a business for my book? All great questions. So my responses? Well, a couple of them. One, I believe we all have a story that is worth sharing, and I believe that yours, you listening today, and anybody that stops me in the hallways asking this question is important too. I also believe that this is an industry that's proof that you don't have to know it all. You just have to know who to turn to for direction. And I realize you also don't have to do it all. And I say that when it comes to marketing as a marketer over here, you just have to be strategic. And I feel that way too with navigating writing a book. I also believe that if you write a book with your readers in mind first and foremost, you will write a book that they will want to read and they will buy. Gosh, that is a big one. We're going to dissect that here in a minute. And I also say, yes, you can build a business from your book. And listen, I know this because I'm living it, truly living it. If I hadn't published my first book, I would never be doing what I'm doing now and getting to do what I feel like really is my life's purpose. So I am excited to take a break and take some time right now to break down these questions for y'all a bit more, share my insights on what book writing and the book publishing approach for those who might be considering this as something that you want to do, but really are unsure where to start or what to consider before you dive in. The first place that I think we need to start is really by understanding why to write a book in the first place, and how are you going to measure its success? Two really big key things. We'll dive into the rest of those questions the rest of this season, but this episode is focused on those two. And let's start with why to write a book in the first place. There are so many reasons to write a book, both personal reasons and professional reasons. Let me take a moment and dissect each of those for you. From the personal side, listen, like some people, it might be a bucket list for you. Like, yes, I've always wanted to write a book, Stephanie, and I'm going to check it off my bucket list. I know people like that. I met one at a coffee shop at a Starbucks, actually. I'll never forget the day that I met Debbie at a coffee shop. We were sitting at Starbucks, I'd been working at a Starbucks for about a year. Let me backtrack. When I say I was working at a Starbucks, I was not a barista. I have no idea how to create an amazing chai tea. I just know how to digest to them. But I do know that, and I have to share that because many people, once they realized that Starbucks became my second office home, would go in and ask the people working there, is Stephanie working today? And they didn't realize that, yes, I was. I was just working at a table, not behind the counter. Maybe one day I will learn how to make some of those really cool coffees. Anyways, I'll never forget when I met Debbie. Her and her husband had been going to Starbucks, and I believe they still do, every afternoon during the week. It was just kind of a thing for her and her husband. And I would call them my Starbucks coworkers to my husband. I said, yeah, I get so much inspiration when I'm sitting at a Starbucks that I just love working there and any coffee shop really. But Debbie and her husband, Mike, and I all connected. And it was a year after I'd been kind of working out of that place off and on that Debbie one day asked me, hey, Stephanie, what do you do? I guess she thought that I just enjoyed drinking chai teas and checking email for like 8 hours a day at Starbucks. I told her, and when I told her that I have the ability to help authors, her eyes got as big as like plate saucers, no joke. And she goes, oh my gosh, Stephanie, oh my gosh. I think she said, oh my gosh, about 100 times. She goes, writing a cookbook is a bucket list of mine. I've been going through my bucket list, and that is something I want to do. And I just don't know what to do, and I don't know how to do it. And I just smiled and took a deep breath and realized that the universe always works in the ways it's supposed to. And it was so intentional that Debbie and I met, because then it allowed me the opportunity to kind of help her navigate the book process, and helped her bring her book to life, her cookbook to life. It's a phenomenal cookbook. It's called Cooking with Love. Take a peek. Download it on Amazon, purchase it off of Amazon. You will not regret it. She's an amazing cook and a beautiful storyteller. But for some people, writing a book literally is a bucket list. It's something you've always wanted to do. It's going to be meaningful when you do that. For other people, writing a book, it may be because you feel like you have a message that you want to share to the world, or you want someone to hear. Listen, every story matters. I don't want anyone to say, gosh, I don't have a story good enough to write a book. Listen, let me pause and say, you might not have a story or an angle or something unique that's going to mean that your book is going to become a New York Times bestseller and just explode across the world. I mean, that takes some unique kind of angles and marketing help and editing and publishing and all that stuff. But that doesn't mean your story doesn't matter, because rest assured, your story completely matters. And if you want to write a book, by golly, you should go freaking do it, because your story is meaningful and you have a message that the world needs to hear. And I really think when I look at books, I look at them kind of as gateways for learning and for sharing. I was just talking to my dad the other day specifically about books, because my daughter, who has struggled a little bit with learning really and gaining confidence in reading, has made big improvements here lately. And it's just diving in. And when we get in the car, she pulls out a book and she's reading it. It just makes my heart so warm. And my dad was like, Stephanie, this is huge. And I knew he was right. He's like, because once you can read, then the world is at your fingertips. Anything is possible. And so I see books as this beautiful gateway for sharing. I see books as ways to build bridges and not build walls. Let that sink in for a minute. Like in a world where we feel divided many times, books have the potential to actually break down walls. It allows you to learn and understand other people in ways that you probably wouldn't have otherwise, and build an appreciation and a love for them and a love for their perspective in a like non-judgmental way, right? Like you've put your story out there with your perspective, but there's not this give and take conversation. So someone can digest it, sit on it, and not feel like they have to have a rebuttal or initial thoughts on what your perspective is. They're given the chance to reflect on it. And I think that's really beautiful. That builds bridges. It gives you the glimpse into the life of another person. And it actually, I think, can create unity in ways that other platforms just can't. Social media. Sorry, did I go down that path? Yes, I think books actually create unity. And listen, I think a story can also change a life. It can change many, but I don't know about you, but if in my life here, my short time on this planet, if I can change like one person's life, then it would be like worth it, mic drop moment. And actually that came to me a couple of years ago. So my first book came out in 2018, and I will never forget writing that book. I was writing it in the middle of a lot of pregnancy insomnia, which is always fun. And in the middle of the night, I wrote a chapter that was like super heartbreaking and stressful and something that I had pushed down deep within me for a long time. But when I got this book out, or that chapter out, I started crying. My husband had woken up at that point. He's like, "What's wrong with you? Are you okay?" Yes, not only am I okay, I felt free. But I remember looking at him and saying, "Oh my gosh, I am exhausted. And I'm writing in the middle of the night, and something is telling me that there is somebody out there who's going to pick up my book in the middle of the night, and I'm going to realize that my middle of the night story sharing is going to be a middle of the night game changer for them." I just felt like that was going to happen. So a couple months after my book came out, I got a message on social media from a reader. Let me just tell you how cool that is. So if you've ever read my book, or if you've read a book of another author's, like take a moment and shoot them a message, reach out to them. They love to hear from readers. It really makes them feel like their words were worth it and their energy was worth it. But at any rate, I get this message from her, and she shared with me a little bit about her story. She said, "Hey, Stephanie, I have undergone some challenges the last few months. This lady was in a car wreck. Believe she had a stroke behind the wheel and got in a car wreck and was in rehab. Thank heavens she was okay, but she's a single mom and worked in an industry that was a little unstable. And, so taking some time off was a challenge for her. She had to, though. She didn't have a choice. And this new experience in her life kind of pushed her to deal with some levels of anxiety that she wasn't expecting. So this particular night, she was having an anxiety attack, and she found herself on the floor crawling to her closet, which she shared with me, kind of her safe place. There's something about being confined in moments of panic attacks and anxiety situations that makes you feel like you can get a handle on life again. She was in there trying to struggle to kind of breathe and get everything, back in order. And she shared that she had pulled her Kindle with her on the way in. She opened up her Kindle, and it just so happened that Color Today Pretty, which is my first book, was open on her Kindle. And she said she read it for 15 minutes. She just sat there, in tears in her closet reading. And she said, after 15 minutes, I was able to breathe. I was able to focus. And I remembered, like what I could control. She literally wrote to me, and I'll never forget this. She wrote to me and said, "Stephanie, you and your book saved my life that night." Like when I say that out loud, I almost have to pause and I'll absorb what I'm saying. And listen, I didn't believe that a book could do that. To be honest, I didn't expect my book to be able to do that. But the fact that this woman reached out to me in the middle of the night and shared in such a vulnerable way what was going on in her world and how my book kind of made a difference for her was game-changing for me. It was my mic drop moment. I remember telling my husband, if I don't sell another book or do anything else with this book, it's okay, because I have literally written a book about a message that one person needed to hear. I wrote that book for her. Obviously, that was my goal. So you might have that personal reason to write that book too, that there's one person out there that needs to hear this and it can change their life. A third reason on the personal side that you might want to write a book is because you might want to leave a legacy. What's really cool about writing a book is the book will outlive you. It will go for generations and generations. It will be passed down. It will go to people that you'll never meet. You'll never see. You'll never really know the reach of your book. That is something really kind of nerve-wracking and exhilarating altogether, but it can change lives forever. I remember when I wrote my book, I told my husband, and I may have told you all on the podcast too, that if nobody bought my book and I had 500 copies of my book in my basement, it's okay, because I just wanted my kids to know that when Mama had a dream, Mama made it happen. And then I realized too that the book gave me a chance to share my legacy with them, that they can now share my thoughts and perspective on life and on them with their kids and their grandkids and generations to come. So that legacy lives on. Hey, I'm popping in here for just a second to see if you're serious about writing a book. Like, seriously? If you're serious, and we're talking not just any book, but writing a book that will make a difference, that will leave a legacy, and will sell. After getting asked time and time again about how to write a book people will want and people will buy, I decided to create the Empowered Writer Program. It's a signature program here at the Empower PR Group that provides aspiring authors with the tools they need to bring their messages from their minds to the masses and do it in a way that will ensure and encourage their books to be ones that readers will want, that they will need, and that they will purchase. With a mix of self-guided content and one-on-one coaching from yours truly, this program will help you achieve various levels of success, including understanding and making sure you are writing to your niche, really assist you in the development of a stronger manuscript and book, and it will provide you the guidance you need to bring that book to life. Finally, don't wait, right? Let's get this done. Visit empowerprgroup.com/theempoweredwriter or click below in the show notes to get all the details you need. And let's schedule time to chat. Let's just see if this program is a good fit for you. Okay, enough about that. Let's get back to the conversation. Okay, so those are some personal reasons why you might want to write a book. And let's be real, if we just stopped there, that's enough to write a book, in my opinion. But most of the people that I get to work with at the Empower PR Group come to me because of the professional reasons too. Like, listen, there are many other reasons to write a book, and I get it. So I've got 3 that I want to just highlight here for you as well. 1, it can make you money. Yeah, a lot of people go, oh my gosh, Stephanie, I want to write a book because I want to make money. And this is going to be a way to create passive income. I love when people say that. And then I love sharing with them, I don't know if I'd call it passive because there's work you got to do to keep the book selling, but that's okay. It can make you money. It can help you, just book sales in and of itself can help you make money. If you are a professional speaker or you have a business, even a brick and mortar store where you can have a book at the back of the room or in your store or part of your business, it can be an add-on to your financial kind of growth in your business. It can grow a business for you. I mean, the Empower PR Group is a prime example that me writing a book started a business. I would never be able to do what I'm doing if I hadn't written my first book. And I know a lot of people who are in that space, in the coaching world and consulting world, that book is really the start of something bigger. And it leads to derivative offerings. Again, when I wrote Color Today Pretty, I had no intention or expectation of forming a, PR agency and marketing agency to help authors. I just didn't even have that on my radar, you guys. But the book opened conversations and people were demanding it. I need this. Will you help me? Will you help me? And then before I knew it, we have the Empower PR Group that now extends globally. It's awesome. It's exciting. And it's proof that a book can make you money and it can help you grow a business. It can also position you as a thought leader. This is probably one of the big reasons that a lot of people come and start talking to me and others about writing a book, because they realize that they need to be seen as like their credibility and visibility need to be increased in their industry, and a book is going to position that for them. It's going to help them stick out. Someone said it, and I love how they said it. Like, when you write a book, you're not just the person who said it, but you're the person who wrote about it, right? So you didn't just get up on a stage and make a comment. You now have a book about it, and it can be used within businesses. It can be used within other teams and church groups, and so many ways you're not even thinking about it. And your book gives you kind of that leveraging tool for that. And the third reason, and I mentioned that a little bit on the it can make you money, but it can help you start or grow a business. So many people use a business card or use a book as a business card. They see it as a higher investment business card for potential clients, potential collaborators, potential leads. It becomes a tool that allows you to be able to market yourself. In the back of the book, I always tell people to put a lead magnet back there, something that's going to help people want to learn how to work with you. Take the book message off the pages and into their lives. And how can you do that for people? It also helps you open doors for people to better understand how and why they should work with you, right? So it helps people realize, oh, she does that. Oh, that's really cool. I want that. And then a book might, if without that book, they might not have had that nugget of insight. So that book can be a real key differentiator there. And it also increases immediately your credibility and your visibility. It's crazy how that happens. But immediately when that book comes out, people are like, oh my gosh, they look at you at a different level of credibility. And then people that you didn't even know about start finding you. It's really fun, really cool, really weird thing about being an author, but something that's really kind of exciting. So I always ask people when they come to me, why do you want to write a book? Like, these reasons are important. It's really the first question that I ask them, because I think that understanding your why is going to help you ensure that when you're writing your book, you're going to write the best book to accomplish your why. So you're going to write it in a way that is going to achieve your goal. You need to know that. And I also like to know and have people articulate their why, because let's be real, you are going to find yourself in the depths of writing hell. You're going to find yourselves locked in a hotel room trying to get the content out if you're having writer's block. You're going to be in editing craziness when you get feedback from your editor or editorial board. You're going to be in the depths of publishing drama because publishing is intense, all of those things. And you're going to ask yourself, why in the world did I ever sign up for this? It's kind of like having a baby, y'all. After you do it, you forget about the hard stuff and then you want to do it again. But when you ask yourself those things, knowing your why and the reason that you want to do it in the first place is going to help ground you. So I love that. The second question that I ask people when they come to me, kind of navigating this writing book publishing journey, and I actually think this is the most important question, is what will success look like for you? If you've given thought to writing a book, you've likely given thought to what you think it will actually do for you. Okay, so first thing is, I want to write a book. The next thing is, why do I want to write a book? And the next thing is, well, what will this book do for me? It's just how us as humans, how our brains are hardwired. So you might be hopeful that your book is going to help you do a couple things. Maybe you're one of those people who are like, writing a book is going to make me rich and I'm going to get all this money. And I'm going to giggle behind closed doors because, no offense, you could do that. Absolutely. But most people, writing a book and publishing a book is not your get rich quick scheme. It's just not. It can help you make money, definitely though. And it can help you achieve your financial goals if you have your right kind of strategies and the book is strong. You have all that in place. Some people say, I want it to make me rich and famous and well known. And yes, there are many authors out there who have gotten a lot of notoriety because of their books. But that might not be you, might not be me, and that's okay too, right? Some people are like, I hope that it helps me prove to others something. That's a big one, actually. Like, I want to prove to someone that I can do this. I've heard that a lot of times. And I actually think that's really interesting and commendable. And there's probably other layers behind that as to why you're writing a book. It can help you get more clients or grow your business or, I don't know, build a business. So many people are thinking those types of things when they're coming to the table about writing a book. So we all write books for various reasons. And we all look at success metrics and just how are we going to measure the success of our books in different ways too. So I want to talk a little bit about both of those separately, your goals for your book and what your success metrics could look like. So let's start with your goals. I always encourage aspiring authors to sit down and articulate, 1 or 2 or 3 goals that they have for their books. And really get clarity and focus and clear around how you will know that you've met those goals. Okay, what I mean here is what is your goal for writing your book? What's your goal? And I like to say, what are your 3 goals? You might only have 1 and that's okay too. But what are your goals? Sit down and kind of contemplate this. So an example for a goal might be you want to use your book as a calling card to grow your business. Okay, so you want to use your book to help grow your business. Awesome. So then the next thing I want to ask you to do is come up with 3 metrics. How will you know that you've met your goal? This is important before you write your book to know this. Just saying, this is important. If your goal is to use your book to grow your business, maybe a metric could be that you plan to send your book out to 5 people a week as a door opener. Well, if that's the case, you want to know that because you want to make sure that you write a book that maybe it doesn't have to be super long. So then the author copy price is more affordable on the lower cost and you can buy it in bulk and the 5 copies are things you could send out really easily. Maybe if that is a goal and a metric, it would be good to know that because if you write a smaller book, then it might be cheaper to mail it. I don't know. These are just things to think about, but it impacts how you write your book. Maybe another metric around that could be that you hope the book's going to open up 10 new leads a month. And again, that would open doors to how are you marketing the book to get those 10 new leads? Or maybe another metric to know that you've achieved your goal as using your book as a calling card for your business is that this book is a door opener to get you into podcasts to reach new business opportunities. I don't know. All of those metrics are important. And you probably see how knowing the goal, knowing your metrics to get there lead to your marketing efforts. Of course, remember this podcast is being produced and written by a book marketer. So I have to come to the table with that for you. What if another goal for your book is that you want to leave people inspired? That's a goal I hear from a lot of people. That was one of the goals that I had for my own book. So how do you know that you've done that? So a couple metric ideas around that could be that you want to collaborate with a handful of organizations that align with your brand, your mission, your vision, and do something in a year to do that. When my book came out, that was a goal of mine, was to leave people inspired. And I'm partnered with the Center for Women and Families in the area that I live in, which is an amazing organization that helps women and their children get out of situations that they shouldn't be in the first place and get them on their feet to be able to go to the next place. I have a chapter in my book that is written around sexual harassment of an experience that I had, and I wanted to utilize that story for purpose. I knew that I needed to assign purpose to that situation. So I collaborated with that organization and figured out a way to share my story in a way that would help them. Maybe that's something you want to do. Maybe another metric is that you want to speak in X number of groups this year, right? Maybe that can help leave people inspired, but get clarity on what that is. And that is going to help you know the next steps in your marketing efforts. All right. The other thing I want you to think about is your success metrics. And this is really important to figure out before you go any further, really, because it will dictate the type of publishing approach you take. It will dictate how much marketing you put into things. It will dictate so much. So what could be a success metric here? For some, actually writing the book itself is a success metric. Check. I did it. I was successful. I accomplished it. For others, you might have larger success metrics, and without the right marketing strategies, you might not accomplish it. So for instance, what if your metric is you want to sell 1,000 books in the first year? Awesome. How are you going to do it? So if that is what you need to feel like, hey, I know that when I do this, this will make my book successful. I will feel like my book was a success. Awesome. Capture it because we'll want to create some marketing strategies around it. Maybe you want to make a specific dollar figure from your book. Now get clear on what this looks like, because books do kind of crazy magical things. You might say, I want to make, I don't know, $5,000 this year or this month, I don't know, pick on, from my book. Well, from my book doesn't mean it might not be your book, and who knows, it might be a speaking engagement that comes about, or someone buys a bulk book purchase. Maybe it is from specific books. How are you going to push that? Those are things you'll want to think about. And you really want to capture this now before you go any deeper, because it's going to dictate how you write your book, how you publish your book, and how you are going to market your book. So for whatever reason, I find that people are really enamored with books. They're enamored with reading books. They love writing them. And even in today's digital age and a world with less bookstores, insert sad face, I don't see books, though, themselves going away. Nope, not anytime soon. And now we have audiobooks too, so we can reach audiences in new and different ways. So if writing a book is something that you've always wanted to do, then do it. Don't use excuses. Stop making excuses. Stop listening to other people's excuses and make it happen. Seriously, do it. Do it now before you give it too much more thought. But before you do, I definitely suggest that you gain clarity on the 3 parts of what we chatted about today in this episode. 1, understand your why. Be really, really clear on why you want to write a book. Number 2, have clarity on what your goals are around the book. What are your goals, and what are the metrics around how you know you'll achieve those goals? And then clearly articulate what success will look like for you before you begin in the first place. Y'all, writing a book can truly, absolutely, 100% change lives. I have seen it happen for other people, and I am proof of it too, as it's happened for me. I promise it can change lives. And if you want it to change lives and change your own, make it happen. Don't let yourself or others stand in the way of you writing a book. If it's something you want and you need to do, make it happen, but be sure to tackle it with open eyes. This season of the Empowered Author Podcast is diving into questions many people have before they begin writing their book and publishing that journey. Today, we touched on understanding the purpose of writing a book, and next we'll talk about how overcoming the mental hurdles to accomplishing it is pivotal. So be sure to tune in. And if you are loving this podcast, listen, I'd love for you to leave a review. They are literally among my most favorite things to read. And be sure to follow us on LinkedIn and Instagram at the handle Empower PR Group, as we will take this discussion even further on those channels. So we'll see you there. Whatever your reason, one thing remains true. Writing a book is one thing. Marketing it is something altogether different. That's where we come in. The Empower PR Group loves helping authors market their books. But we also realize that one of the best ways to market and sell a book is to write a book people will buy in the first place. The Empowered Writer Program is one of the Empower PR Group's signature programs dedicated to helping aspiring writers who've begun drafting their manuscript ensure that they are writing a book that meets both your needs and those of your readers. The program is a 12-week collaborative experience that includes a mix of some self-guided content and reflection with dedicated one-on-one coaching with myself, yours truly, Stephanie Fager of the Empower PR Group. And we will take a deep dive look at your manuscript to ensure that it's prepped and ready for whatever publishing journey you want to embark upon next. I'd love to chat with you to see if this program is a good fit. Visit empowerprgroup.com/theempoweredwriter, or you can check the link below in the show notes to learn more. Now, if you know this, I am a believer that empowered people empower people. So I have empowered you, the aspiring author. Now, guess what? It is your turn to empower others.